Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Video Recall. Today we'll talk about the overview of institutional corrections. So let's talk about correction. So correction can be a study, it's also a research or a branch of administration of justice, which talks about the custody, the rehabilitation, the type of punishment, imprisonment, supervision are of the same nature for convicted persons or also could be those persons awaiting trial. So that's correction. For the word imprisonment should not be confused with the word correction because imprisonment is just a part of the correction as a whole. So imprisonment is a form of punishment which refers to the confinement to an institution, which it could be a jail or a prison, or in some other cases, hospitals. So the purpose of imprisonment is, of course, for today's era or for today's correctional administration, it's now for rehabilitation or for reformation. So let's talk about jail versus prison. So let's not interchange these two, though jail and prison, of course, they're all under imprisonment. But we should know that jail is only up to three years imprisonment. So those having pending cases or convicted with imprisonment of or punishment or penalty of up to 3 years will be imprisoned in jail. For more than 3 years, we have we use the word prison. No, the term is prison if the penalty is more than 3 years already. And for prison, we have Bureau of Corrections, no, under Department of Justice, which caters these prisoners with more than 3 years imprisonment. And for jail, we also have Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, which caters these convicts with up to 3 years imprisonment, as well as those with pending cases. Also, we have under provincial government, we have provincial jails. So aside from BGMP, which caters the municipal and city, we have provincial jails under provincial government. So what are the legal grounds of imprisonment? So first, it could be commission of the crime or insanity or any other reasons for safekeeping. So for example, the person is imprisoned temporarily for the purpose of safekeeping because he keeps on doing or causing damages to the community. For example, those drunkards or of the same nature. So, but their imprisonment are mere temporary. So we have alternative to imprisonment. So when we say alternative to imprisonment, we'll jump to non-institutional corrections. So instead of being imprisoned in an institution, so we have these alternatives such as probation, if the convict is qualified. We also have executive clemencies such as pardon, commutation of sentence, and reprieve, which are all given by the president, by his or her plenary power as provided by the 1987 Constitution. So when we say pardon, it has two types, conditional and absolute. So pag pardon, the convict will be forgiven of his or her crime. So instead of serving sentence, since the person is forgiven of his or her crimes, he or she will not serve his or her sentence anymore. And commutation of sentence, so it is reduction of sentence. Instead of, let's just say, reclusion perpetua, it will be reduced to reclusion temporal. And reprieve, we talk about postponement of the sentence. Usually, it is done when the person has a penalty of death. Okay. And then amnesty, it is not, it is a special form of pardon, but is not under the executive clemency, since amnesty is a public act of the president. So it needs a majority concurrence from the Congress. We also have parole. So parole, when the person already served the minimum of his or her sentence, then the person may be eligible for parole if the person is, of course, qualified and not a threat to the community. So we have also illegal detention versus arbitrary detention. So we can differentiate this by asking who commits the crime and what are the grounds. So for illegal detention, the one who commits this illegal crime of illegal detention are private individuals, okay, or public officers in their private capacity. So whenever a private person detains a person, even if he or she has no authority to do that at all, then that could be illegal detention. Arbitrary detention, on the other hand, is committed by officer who has the power to detain a person, such as police officers. So if they have no grounds to detain the person, then the person or the officers could be liable for arbitrary detention. Also, when even though the officer has legal ground to detain such person, but it is already beyond the reglementary period for detention, then the person could also be liable under arbitrary detention. Okay. So for part 2, let's have another video for that. So I hope you've got this, you've got those inputs, and thank you, and see you for the next episode.